We had a 5-minute break. I don't know about you, but I had some mozzarella sticks. They were very tasty.
I have pizza beside me.
Oh, yum.
I have to.
All right, so we had quite a moment inside this tree trunk here, and in this prompt that Jade left off with, if we're gonna just talk and get stuff out, why wait? This is the time and the place. Let's get her done. And
then we're disrupted by a very inconsiderate, infernal-talking demigod of infernal power who wishes to end up coming back home with unexpected guests. And so, for some odd reason, I was reminded of that scene from Pulp Fiction. And it's like, I'm told to believe that if your wife shows up, she wouldn't exactly appreciate us being here too much, none. No, sir. Okay, gentlemen, that gives us exactly 25 minutes. Except we missed the 25 minutes. We went to the 30-minute mark, and now she's here.
Celine's pointy, if only slightly chubby ears perk up, and she does seem to hear in Abyssal, which isn't a very common language for people to go roaming around the woods saying, honey, I'm home, or the like. So she barges outside with just a sword hilt in hand, as far as, at least the three here know. And what we can do is... it hasn't really devolved yet into something that I'm going to say requires initiative. So I'm not going to call for it just yet. But what we can do is sort of take... I don't mind being an open narrative, but I don't want to have vast swaths of conversation or, kind of actions or considerations are fine here. As we move in this direction. Actually, let me get a quick... Oh, I should have had...
Let him get his HP calculator, figure out how much it's going to take to one-shot us.
I normally keep a little notepad around here because we're on the edge of technology here on the MattyMorgs channel using Roll20. And there we go. So you get digital vinyl mats, and I'm keeping track of stuff with a pen and paper. Time-honored tradition here. So at least that's what I'll say. All right.
Fair enough.
So I have my materials ready to go. Celine, you get sort of first dibs on running out. You draw your sword hilt. You dash past Norallie. Norallie, you kind of do a little wobble because wow, who knew Celine has the moves here.
She got the move.
And Celine, what you see, in fact, looking out, I will say that for Mordecai, you see this, Bright you don't, only because of your stature. But when you look out the window, and Celine, when you're looking from where you have emerged, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, you can see that there is a figure over here walking between the trees. Looks like tiefling, middle-aged, a very heavy-set woman, and she's wearing like a very stained cooking robe, and she is carrying a ladle. Along with just sort of a belt of other cooking tools. Some of them do look like sharp implements, but she also has something akin to like a bread roller, or whatever, a dough roller, rolling pin. There we go, SMRT. And so
SMRT, yes.
And so
I've got my short bow drawn.
She's walking out here, and she has a ladle in her hand. Honey, in Abyssal. So we'll pick up here. Celine, you're first on the scene. We're kind of in narrative time. What do you want to do?
Celine is just she's gonna walk out the door, but she's gonna keep herself slightly back and keep an eye on this person.
Okay.
And if the door is open, she's probably gonna gesture to Norallie and the others, like.
Okay. Norallie, you're close by. Celine's kind of her hand is like coming in through the door like this, and What do?
I think at the moment she's not actually going to do anything.
Okay. Let's.
Are there any?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Bright,
sorry.
what do you want to do?
Are there any stairs or anything, or is this tree just one big room?
No, it's one big room. There is a tall roof. I'll say it's like 15 feet high on the inside, kind of carved out here.
Do you want a boost?
Oh, I just wondered if there was, other entrances or things.
There's a window. We'll say there's a window on each of the cardinal directions, and that in here there's it'd be like bunks that you'd sleep on. It would be more like a shelf coming out than a second story. So there would be like a little ladder that you could climb up to get to this shelf bunk that's raised above the common room on the floor.
So other question: which of these three NPC tokens is the father?
The one with the rake.
I'm gonna walk over to him and say that. I'm just gonna walk over to him and follow his lead.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna open up the window and have my short bow drawn.
Sure. You can do so.
Sometimes my friends are a little trigger happy, but also, so if you have any way to resolve this situation, maybe you should do that before there's a fight.
Okay. Let's go to Jade.
At this point, Jade is more curious on how this is going to play out, given some mobility restrictions amongst the group.
Okay.
So she will step out along with Celine.
All right then. Are you going to stand right beside her, or?
A little further out. She'll be closer to the water.
Okay. So Bambartilus looks down at you, Bright, and gives you a nod that he heard you here. Looks over to his two boys here. Glen, Garry. Seems we have visitors. Need you to go and get ready. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. The one is he dives into the water. Because remember, they're just wearing like pants and a smile. Oh, and their hats. And then 1, 2, 3. He comes up to the log pile and rustles around in it and comes out with a big two-handed axe, presumably used for chopping wood. That was Glen, and then we have Garry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to kind of bump into you, Celine, along the way, and he gives you a little bit of a bow. Excuse me, ma'am, I have some work to do. And then just sort of like, gives a flex and dives into the brook. And he just manages to get up onto the bank. The father goes and he starts rustling around a wooden trunk that's inside the wooden trunk, and he comes back out with. Pardon. He comes back out with a sword and a shield, and these items look very, very good, but they look very wicked. Just like something about them just gives you a shiver. But here we have an old man now who has a sword and shield, and he's able to move up, and he's standing here. Sort of by Norallie. And Norallie, he looks over to you. I hope you're ready to do what needs done. Running is always an option, But having the choice is true power. Are you ready for this, if it comes to it, my dear?
I don't know.
You're gonna have to know soon.
Norallie, take it from a coward. You don't have to do this, but we'll back you.
Celine, do you want to do something next? Really, any of you can act. We're in round 2, but I don't really care about the order right now.
Seems like everybody's getting ready for a fight. I'm really hoping that there's not going to be one, but I'm going to go ahead and come out here. I guess I'll stand here
Okay.
and cast gun on this. But I guess I'll cast mirror image.
Okay. So there are suddenly 3 brights.
Or 4 brights.
Or I'm sorry, 4 brights. Yeah, that's right. Because there's the original, and then there's the
3
fantastic copies. Okay.
Hope she's afraid we have an army of gnomes.
She's gonna get known.
The others have been kind of slowly coming up, and all this heavy set like middle-aged tiefling cook woman, she just kind of sits there and is watching, and you better send him out in Abyssal. She's shouting, and she's given a very stern talking to and a waggle of her finger. Okay, so Bright goes out, casts a spell, refreshingly without any danger of of wild magic.
Wild magic.
Yeah, oh, it's pure and wonderful and wild and free, except it's not wild.
No. Yeah, it's just pure and wonderful and free. You know, the funny thing about the wild magic is you only really miss it once it's gone.
Bright reminisces and a single tear.
I remember when I would conjure up unicorns.
Those were the days. Who would like to do
Jade.
something next?
Jade looks to Celine. Go ahead.
Norallie is going to step out. She's going to walk across the bridge.
Okay. Do you want to get to Brayson?
Yeah, but not running or anything.
Okay, all right. So you're taking your time and you're moseying towards the donkey. All right. Who wants to do something next? The NPCs are going last until we get into initiative.
I'm waiting for a cue. I am just watching and making sure that there's no hostilities.
Okay.
Jade will walk up just before the bridge. This I believe it's a fallen log that really large that serves as a bridge, if I recall.
It would be like a thick trunk that would have been cut in half. So it's not dangerous to walk over. It's flat, but it's not an engineered bridge by any means. It is just a hunk of wood that's spanning the brook.
That'll do. And she simply ends up looking to this individual, confused, mostly on the fact that she doesn't speak the same language quite clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And it very much allows that to be obvious on her face, like, speak common.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Celine?
Celine is just going to look to Norallie. And then she's going to look inside to Mordecai now. And beckon him out because she fears that this may go south rather quickly.
Okay. But you're otherwise holding your position?
Yep.
Okay. Then we come down here.
I'm more or less safe right here.
Glen looks over to his brother, who's getting out of the water. Dappled sunlight plays off his chiseled body as little drops of water are pouring over his unique physique. And the one brother is holding this big, hefty axe, looks to the other. Gary, you take this, and tosses it over, and Gary catches it, kind of gives it a twirl, looks over to Bright and Celine, and with his tiefling eye gives you a wink, as he kind of like, oh yeah, flexes, and moves over here. The other one moves around 2, 3, 4. He disappears out of sight as he's between the logs, and you hear some kind of the jostling of tools or something is going on over in this direction. And then as for Bambartilus, he is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to step out and look over. Oh no. Those poor bastards. Those are the men from one of the other logging camps. Well, they were. They are. It's difficult to explain.
The thralls?
Yes, they've been taken over. And I'll tell you, having enjoyed that woman's cooking before, it's a damn shame of what is probably going to have to happen to her.
Can they be released?
The only way I know how to release them is through death. If there's another way, I wish I knew. We'll see what happens. And he calls back in Abyssal. And by the way, Celine, this is like perfectly pronounced Abyssal. Like this man has spoken it for years and years and years. This isn't like me am fight. We meet here. This is nuanced. This is some banter. You're getting back and forth. It might even be verging. I don't know how much in roleplay Celine has studied Abyssal, or if you have like a passing knowledge. But he is definitely a fluent speaker and is very well versed. And there's a short back and forth between the two, where the possessed tiefling kind of puts her hand on her hip and is now waggling the ladle, saying, "You better come here, or bad things are going to happen to more people. You know that she wants to talk to you, my dear honey." And Bambartilus simply grits his teeth. We come back around to you all. You can take an action of some kind. No provocations have been made yet. It seems to be peaceable.
I'd like to come up. Oops, that's the wrong button. Right button. Come up here, and I'll say, Mr. Bambartilus, if she just wants to talk, maybe you should just talk to her. It can't be that bad. I mean, I know sometimes exes can be mean to you. I think Mordecai and I both kind of know about that. But you can... I mean, if she just wants to talk, it can't be that bad.
Would that it was me talking to my ex. This is simply an agent of hers. Well, it's complicated. There's layers, somewhat literally. I hope that the sight of gore doesn't offend you, Bright. You poor sweet thing, and he pats you on the head.
Yeah, I'm okay. Hi, I'm not a child. I'm just short.
I can't help it. I'm sorry. Give this man a break.
He's the father. He can't help it.
Yeah.
Time's older than you, right?
Oh God, I'm being talked to now by two of the. I have two people nagging at me. Ah! No, continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's all. That's all.
Okay. He'll to wrap it up and to show that he's listening and he is at least entertaining, if not in good humor. He'll just look down through the side of his mouth and say, "You know that the Browbeat Mountains are supposedly named after my ex." And then so that was Bright's turn, and now someone else can do something. Norallie was moseying. Celine was kind of chilling out. Mordecai's on standby, kind of on overwatch with this bow drawn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hear that
These
she's
ones are doing a
trying
little
to
creep up.
speak. I hear the words, and yet all she's speaking is gibberish. Tell me, my dear, do you speak anything else?
You do not get recognition from her through eyes or through just her face turning towards you.
Celine, maybe you can translate?
Yeah, I can translate. Just talk and I will talk.
Do you want to move up to this kind of front line, kind of holding the bridge area, or are you going to try and shout around the tree?
No, I'll move up.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
And she opens up with a fireball.
No, no. That's not her style.
That's Bright style.
That's bright.
You don't always cast fireballs.
Sometimes it's magic missile.
They're very
They do
effective.
maximum damage.
Fireballs are just very effective.
Norallie, when you're moving over to Brayson, are you...
I'm untying him.
You're untying him? Okay. All right. Any other actions from the PCs?
Currently, no. I need to wait for an NPC.
Sure.
I'm just sitting here in the window, kind of half covered.
Okay. The two brothers, you see, for those of you on the bridge, they move up, and something happens behind the log where it looks like they're colluding back and forth with each other. Gary, the blue one, is facing up towards the guests, but you see he kind of looks back every once in a while, and then they both walk out a little ways, and they're sticking really close together now. And you see that one of them has a great axe, and the other one seems to have two hatchets, or I guess it'd be two hatchets in hand, and they're just doing that. As for their father, father's gonna walk past you, Bright and Jade. 1, 2.
That's what I wanted him to do anyway.
He says excuse me to several of you as he passes by. No, he'll walk a little forward. So if he was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And Celine, you can. I mean, this would kind of count as something maybe on your turn, but you can provide a quick little gist of the back and forth that they're going to have here. If I go with you, will you leave these bodies? Oh, honey, you know that can't be done. Oh, we can't give up our prizes. We worked hard for these. I wish it didn't always have to come to this. Why must you all be so difficult? You know, my dear, you were one of us. Now, are you going to come? Or are you going to stay? Or probably it'd be a little bit more dramatic saying, are you going to come to me? Or are we going to have to come to you? And the voice gets a little lower, and there's a little bit of a menace to it. Bambartilus looks back to, well, really, he's looking at everyone except Norallie, because she's on the other side here. Celine, you could provide that quick translation, but Bambartilus looks at each of you. All 4 sets of bright eyes, Jade, Celine, Celine, Mordecai in the window. He looks at you with the translation of, are you going to come to me, or should I come to you? And he's looking at you for your opinion. Should he give himself up, possibly his sons, or should you try and let this wave crash on the rock?
Celine is going to step forward.
Okay, yeah, we can extend this into the next round because there hasn't been there's been nothing necessarily done yet, so we can play out this transaction in this current round. So go ahead and you can move and take action and whatever.
Yeah. So Selena's gonna step forward to stand next to him, and she's gonna clasp with the shield hand with it just hanging there. She's gonna clasp a hand. Actually, sorry. Moving the hilt to the other hand, she's gonna clasp him on the shoulder very quickly.
Okay.
Before moving her hand. It's just like she's gonna whisper into his ear in common, "Today we stand, today we fight." And and then she will get ready, and she's going to call out her own thing in an abyssal. It's just like, I would highly suggest leaving them alone instead.
Are you wishing? Now, are you saying this? Are you funneling this through a magic, some sort of like a magical compulsion, or do you want to run this as a skill, like an intimidation?
Actually, yeah. Wait, did I pick that up? Yes, I did. I would like to run this as an intimidation, please.
Sure. So you can use your action to actively try and intimidate this this person.
That's a 21.
Ooh.
Or a 21.
Decisions. Okay. The this creature, I don't know what you want to consider her now. Looks her gaze now finally seems to be drawn away from Bambartilus and falls upon you, Celine, and you get this just this tingle up and down your spine. I don't know, maybe it's a good one to you. You're kind of weird like that. And she looks to the other lumberjacks that have been kind of like slowly like spreading out, and with no sort of verbal command, they all draw various weapons, daggers, hatchets. Some of them just have some clubs, and they seemed prepared for a fight. They're lined up in this case. In fact, one of that they're still kind of like creeping up a little bit. One of them has even entered the water. Another one's kind of close here, as they are starting to fill in. I'm not calling for initiative just yet, but Senpai has noticed you, Celine, and things seem to be getting a little rocky. The rest of you can still continue to take this sort of out of order turn, as we are. I guess we're getting our armies lined up on opposite hills here before we maybe are going to march into combat? ? Who wants to do something?
You know how I said I don't always cast Fireball? It turns out that I do.
Aha! You should have been in that zone of truth circle. You do have secrets, Bright.
I'm gonna go ahead and put it. I guess that goes on corners. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it here.
Okay.
It should cover of the northern soldiers plus the woman.
Yeah.
Because we're out of order, real quick, could I cast slow in the same place she's casting fireball? Yeah.
How far away are you? What's the range on that?
You
120 feet.
You can't see that far because this is a big tree trunk that's blocking your field of vision.
Yeah, it needs to be a spot you can see within range. Normally you would be in range, but unfortunately not.
But no one's gonna see a fireball.
Yeah, but she aims around here. I can see all this.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, sure.
You don't follow. When I say nobody's going to see a fireball, I mean nobody is going to see a fireball.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, she could still drop it there because she could see the guys, so maybe she could do it under.
Oh, she can.
Destroy their nets.
There's this
But
little
she's not
flicker of light and then gone.
4D.
Replaced by the slurping sounds.
I am going to roll the 4 dex saves for the lumberjacks that would have been in the fireball, and we'll resolve this one at a time here. I'm going to roll for the 4 lumberjacks.
Well, I was hoping to do
What's that?
so they would have disadvantage.
Well, they'll need a roll wisdom saves
Did
versus
you want
the
it there,
slow
or
thrust.
did you want to scoot it over one so you get that 4th lumberjack?
I put it in the wrong place. I'm trying again.
Gotcha.
It's better. Okay.
And it's a 40-foot cube, so she aimed the thing here. It would go like, she aimed it in the right spot. She ought to get everyone.
Okay. So we are going to have, and I need a DC of 15. The lumberjacks.
Before that happens, because there is a slow going on, you should probably roll those saving throws first.
The slow hasn't gone off yet. I'm going. Bright is asserting herself first in this surprise round.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do this.
I was just asking if I could do that first to help her out with
You
that.
wouldn't have been able to layer it over the fireball because of line of sight. Now you could target elsewhere, and you might be able to, and that could affect something else because you wanted to take an action. I think before Jade spoke up for the hunger of Jade. So to resolve this, we have one of them does make a save, and. All right, and I need to roll one more, and then I will narrate what's happening here.
Wow, these guys are they're going to be making lots of saves.
Alrighty, then we're going to go to... Alright. The 3 that have red dots on them, when the fireball clears, at this instantaneous, this heat flash erupts, and I should also say that the tree that they're standing by is also going to be caught on fire.
Yeah.
That's my professional rendition of fire. Bright, you see that the skin has melted or burned or crisped away, and in like where these things had stood, they look like almost as if any fat or muscle that these lumberjacks had has sort of been like reduced down, and you're just seeing blisters and all kinds of just gnarly like puckers and burns and gaping, oozing wounds. As 3 of these things are just are standing there now after the flash. The other one, here has some burnt skin, and has definitely received damage, but it is not looking like the ones that have the red dots. As for the tiefling lady here, she is caught up and kind of gives a surprised yell. But when the flames go back down, she does have some burns to her. But she looks at her skin and looks over at you, and you get a smile. She looks now. Her eyes fall to you. You get a smile, and as she does, you see that this big lady, perhaps, is more of a skin suit now, because she smiles, but her big jowls begin to kind of droop and drag, and so kind of the character here that's been calling out feels that, and you get that Men in Black, like where she takes the loose skin and pulls it back, so you're getting like a like a smile back at you before she just kind of lets it droop again on her jowls, on her face.
Is this better?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and there's also the beginning of a small forest fire. Now we come over to Norallie, who wanted to cast slow in an area. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I already put it up.
And 6 creatures of your choice in a 40-foot cube. That is a Wisdom saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have to beat a 14.
1, 2. So I guess I'll just go from bottom to top with the first 3, the red dots, and the other 3, the 2 at the base, and the last one is the one up in the corner. So roll 60, 20. Wisdom. Okay.
The first 2... No, only one of them make it. The 16 makes it, the rest don't.
Alrighty. So that was the second roll. So that's going to be this one here, this red dot, and the other ones then are going to be under the effect of slow. I wish these little icons were a little bit bigger, but I am putting a snail on them to indicate that they are slowed. All right. Now, following that in our chain of causality, Jade is going to be throwing out the Hunger of Jade somewhere.
Yep. It directly on top of Fireball. That's why there's a second square.
Okay. Sure. So then there's a bright flash, and your eyes adjust. You see this gruesome scene of this like sizzling, like fatty whatever, like little deep fried dudes that were hiding inside of lumberjacks. And then there's this, this tiefling lady. She gives you that creepy, and then suddenly, things go dark. Maybe mercifully so. And when that occurs, let's see, 20-foot radius void appears, filled with whispers. Now, what happens to me on the start of its turn, but anything that ends its turn? So it hasn't been a turn yet, so it just exists, except they're slowed, right?
They're slowed. They can't see. They are currently here in a situation where...
They're burning and cold at the same time.
Okay.
However, there is a caveat here that needs to be mentioned.
Okay.
Just posting it now.
Jade can see through her hunger.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed woman is queen.
It technically, Devil's Sight does not allow you to see through Hunger of Hadar because it is blackness, not darkness. It is a physical. That's why it's a conjuration and not a. So like you're summoning.
Bits of a stomach.
Yeah, like you're actually summoning something that's manifesting. It's not darkness itself. It's a really weird line. And so I'm not saying this to try and take the wind out of your sails here. Maybe we can end up working on something along the line.
No, if we're playing it that way, then we're playing it that way.
Yeah, but technically, Devil's Sight does not look through Hunger of Hadar because it is a physical blackness and not darkness.
It is a void.
Yeah,
basically.
They use every other word, but
I've played a La Sombra. I'm just gonna leave it at.
Yeah.
But you still have that, and we'll. I don't know. Maybe you get some weird like dark light special effects, kind of playing off the surface. Like it looks like, a shimmering bubble. I don't know, kind of a weird, like negative space. Oh, it looks like Ozma from Final Fantasy IX. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh God! Don't bring up Ozma. I'm having PTSD flashbacks.
So yeah, you're seeing Jade. Your special sight's allowing you to see that mercifully others can't. But you're getting the Ozma effect, OZMA. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you could look it up. All right, so this was now actions from everyone except Mordecai. Mordecai, you're still kind of in the window. You have your short bow drawn. There has been a fireball. I don't know, Norallie, if there's any effect for your slow. I don't know. Does like confetti pour down or like a bunch of? Does it look like string shot in Pokemon, where just sort of like a bunch of little threads kind of?
I think it would kind of be like a frost just kind of forms over them.
sure.
It doesn't deal ice damage, but frost.
Yeah. And then of course everything just fades to black. Mordecai in the window. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Well, the person I wanted to shoot is now in the hunger of a dollar. Let's see.
There are lots of targets.
There are lots of targets.
This is a target-rich environment. And just so you know, lethality, we are coming to a point here where we can.
Yep.
First blood has been drawn. I'll narrate the NPCs and the monsters, and then we'll save proper initiative for the start of next week.
All right, that sounds good to me.
So yeah, I'm gonna shoot this guy.
Sure. All right. Twang.
Short bow. All
right.
25 to hit.
Nice. All right. You aim. What are you aiming for?
I'm aiming for this guy.
I know, but like, are you going for a headshot? Do you want to, go for
Sure.
a gut shot? Go for the knee?
No, I'm going for the head.
Sure. All right. The arrow sickeningly tears through the head and ends up like in the tree beyond here. You still damage this thing for sure. But you now see where you've almost like popped it, or it's somehow been like deflated in a way, as kind of oozing through the face of this one-time lumberjack is like boiled, rendered fat, and just like kind of like old mayonnaise, just all kinds of like foulness. And it sort of like tears up and through as the skin falls away, and there's just this like gribbly, and it's to say it's coming through from its mouth would be comprehensible. It's kind of like making the noise through all the bubbles and wounds on its body.
All right. I think that'll do it for my turn.
Okay. It is the NPC's turn. What you see them do is that the two boys look over to their father. Just, we'll take care of him, Dad. Just run. We need you. We need you, Dad. We got this. And they are going to run forward. And as they do, you see that as they're spreading out, there is a rope tied between their tails. And they are going to continue moving past, catching these two and clotheslining them pretty literally to the tree trunk as they begin to run around behind it.
Oof, that's a big oof. That's a very big oof.
Very nice.
And so these two are going to be restrained as the twins just dash forward, catch them by the rope, and try and make their way around here, pinning them. Bambartilus looks at his sons. He smiles. Kind of has that old wrist across the nose. Hefts his sword and shield and charges. And the first swing, maybe in the timing, so it was like starting to deflate. He goes to try and like chop the head off of this possessed lumberjack. It topples over, whatever. It was empty to begin with. The skin suit drops away, and then he takes his sword and he flips it from an upright position down, and he goes right down through the thing, and it starts writhing and it starts writhing and just almost in a panic sound. Despite this being some weird thing, and as the sword plunges down into this creature, you see inside of it like a glow, like a quick burst of light. So you almost get that kind of cartoonish skeleton effect coming from inside this corpulent whatever. And he pulls it up, and the thing just sort of is like smoking and bubbling and just collapses in a heap. Looks back at you all. Just because I broke my oath doesn't mean I still don't have my own path, my own oaths to myself and my boys to follow. Don't worry about me in a fight. And he smiles and looks at the darkness. And I suppose this is a good time to suspend the map. We'll save our game. Well, we can also, if you really want, we can save cheese this and hit quick save after every single turn, just but thank you very much for another awesome session of revelation, conversation, roleplay, and a little bit of spice of the thrill of combat.
Yeah, no, that was definitely great. I'm going to run real quick because I've got a lot of stuff to set up for tonight as I am DMing.
Yeah.
The prompt is going to be cuisine.
Cuisine.
Oh, just wait to see the kind of things that I have planned for this.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things you've cooked up.
Yes.
Well,
I have concocted them in the kitchen.
We'll do a little table talk, and then I suppose we could play some Jackbox until I see you go live there, Lethality.
All right, sounds good. I will take this opportunity to run off then. Thank you guys for the game. Coffee, you did absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And I will see you guys next week, if not in an hour or so.
Yep. All right. Later.
Bye.
Later.